Hey guys, welcome to the Devlog for Quartermaster, the World War I logistics game I'm working on. Well, today I'm going to share with you negative news. Well, negative. I made a blunder. I effed up and I made a mistake, a misunderstanding, like on the fundamental level of the modifier scripts. I just overlooked a little detail, I would say so, which is the different modifiers and how they are applied. Like, there are modifiers for the map. Is it raining? Is it stormy? There are modifiers for the state of the battle units, like are they under attack or not. There are also different modifiers for the different states and stats, like is the unit diseased? Is there a disease outbreak? Is there a moral boost? Are they under attack? And then there are second grade modifiers like special commanders or special missions change the stats of the units. Like, for example, a specific artillery general will make the consumption of shells for artillery be reduced, for example, or offensive powers are increased, and so on and so on. Well, I made a nice little modifier processor, and it goes through the modifications. I've got the scripts it can be called. It checks the modifiers added. It's taken away again. What is the threshold? What are the conditions? And so on and so on and so on. But I forgot to consider that you have to decide the hierarchy on the modifiers. Like right now, it's just going through, for example, the typo workers. It doesn't matter. All the units have that in the has a variable, an array of active modifiers. That means all the modifiers that are active for this unit are just crammed into this array. And on a specific time ticker, it goes through and checks out, okay, what are the modifiers? And it goes through all the modifiers in the active modifier array and then checks, okay, what stats need to be changed. Now, I've got two issues with that. It's not that hard. Of course, I've got the solutions already. I'll be working on it. Just want to share some of the negative stuff too with you guys, especially since I was quiet for so long. Well, issue number one is I forgot to create basic variables. Like, for example, right now, let's say food use. How much food does this unit use? Like, for example, right now I've got just one. Every timed unit, doesn't matter if I declare it a second, a tick, an hour, a day, whatever, one unit of food will be consumed. Well, now the problem is with the modifier of example plus, let's say plus 50%. Let's make it easier, plus 100%. Okay, cool. That would mean the food use is then 2 units per time. Well, if I have multiple modifiers now, the problem is that the food use will be like, for example, 3 modifiers that all have 100%. Instead of going 100% of the one, each of them will go to the next one. That means food consumption one modifier makes it double, then I have 2 units. But now the next modifier is calculated, and instead of calculating it from 1 and saying, okay, I need to add 1, so the food consumption will be 3, it goes through and says, okay, we take food use, which is now 2, and put 100% on that. Well, then it's 4. And the third modifier now turns it to 8. And suddenly I've got 8 food consumption instead of just 3 or 4. And all the modifiers apply like that. It will be, I think, I'm not sure, is it exponential or logarithmic, but it's going to escape velocity extremely. I can't get it balanced like that. That's the first thing. And the second issue is I have nowhere to save what the basic premise was. Because now, for example, if I go with the 3 modifiers, each adds it, each doubles it, let's say, then I've got at the end food use 8. Where what if all 3 modifiers stop now? How do I calculate what the base value was again? Or if I just want to add another effect of a 10% plus or 10% minus, should it go minus from the 8? Should it go minus from the 1? Of which of those values should it go from? That's the very first thing. Which is, I need to redo all of this and declare a few extra variables with, okay, like active stat, right now stat, and baseline stats. That's all I'm going to add to this. And then we'll test it out a bit and so on and so on and so on. And the second issue is I need to put the modifiers into hierarchies because I need to decide, and that's like just think about it and decide on my own, which of the modifiers gets calculated when. For example, and if I even want to do that, like as I explained right now, do I want the cumulative effect? Do I want an additional effect? If, for example, it rains and suddenly consumption is heightened by 20%, should it be 20% of this extreme value where we already, well, your troops are sick and they are tired and they're under attack? Should they suddenly use 5 times, 8 times more of the mats? Or should it just be a 1.7 times more? Do I want to go that escalating, or do I want to keep it a little more casual? Like, not casual, casual is the wrong word, but like, you know, how much of a positive feedback loop should it be for the modifiers to change the stats? That I'm not sure. I think that will come out during playtesting. I'll try a few different versions. But yeah, that was a big mistake. And the second thing is I need to decide on the modifier hierarchy. Like, first calculate the level modifiers, then calculate the, for example, the mission modifiers, and only after those calculate the unit modifiers. Or do I want to do it the other way around? Should I say no, first we take the unit modifiers, like they're tired, for example, the battle units at the states, just let me look it up. Battle units set advancing, diseased, outbreak, entrenched, evacuating, exhausted. Like, should I take first the value of these are the battle units and they are exhausted, so they move with half the speed, for example, and then add to that, oh, but it's also raining, which makes them 20% slower. Should I take the value of speed 100% and first subtract the 20% from the rain, and then take that new value as the 100% baseline for exhausted and half slower? Or should it first take the exhausted from the normal 100 and then take that value as the new baseline for, and now subtract for raining? That I'm not sure. If anyone has a bit of feedback, considerations, ideas for me, I appreciate it much. Just, this is where I'm at right now, working on the very first prototype version to be able to play it a bit, like without graphics, without audio, just like a gray box level of stuff. And that's why I realized it. I also added a bit of a unique logo. Once I've got this done, I don't want to even talk about what's next. That's what I've got to solve for right now. Everything's coming along well in general. It works, it's nice. The modifiers, the state changes, everything works. All the conceptual stuff that I came up with works. So on the fundamental level, I'm very positive. Nothing seems to be bad about it. It seems to work, which is really nice. As usual with such a complicated game, it's just I overlooked a few things. I'm pretty sure I will keep overlooking a few of the things in the future too. But well, such is life. So with that, I'm finished. Hope you enjoyed the show. Quartermaster, The Forgotten Front, World War I Logistics Game, Always happy to answer your questions. I love discussing the game, brainstorming. Some of you guys have given me great feedback and great ideas for the game. Wishlist it, of course. It's on Steam. Click the link, wishlist it. Any feedback, any support, appreciate it, guys. Thank you all very much, and I wish you all the best until next time.